All right, do we have Teisha on? Hopefully she is unmuted and ready to rock and roll.
Oh, there we go. I think I'm unmuted now. You guys can hear me?
You are. We hear you. Hi, Teisha. So, guys, this is really exciting. First time Teisha's been on the call. She's out of the Canadian market, Director 1 on the builder side, Platinum 1 on the promoter side, and she's another one I would recommend following. She's so consistent in her stories. She's always showing up, showing her face, showing value, showing behind the scenes, you know, having fun, putting herself out there. And this is, I'm telling you, once you guys get the hang of this, for some of you it's going to be a little uncomfortable at first, but once you get the hang of it, you know what got me? I don't know, Teisha, if you remember when you first started posting on social, but it's when people start to, like, ask questions or they start to thank you. When I started getting thank yous for my valuable content or questions from what I was posting, I was like, man, maybe I'm on to something. Maybe I should do this more often. Now, that was over a decade ago, but it starts to become fun where you're like, oh, my gosh, like, let me show this and let me talk about that. And eventually you start to get really good at telling stories, offering tips, advice, value, and then it becomes attractive. You start to attract like-minded people, and Teisha's done just that. So, Teisha, what's up? Happy to have you on the call today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to come speak today. And just a little bit about me. I'm a Gen Z. I'm a former elementary school teacher as well, and I've been full-time now in the network marketing industry for 6.5 years about. And when I got involved, it wasn't because I was looking for anything. It was simply because somebody asked me to take a look. And I remember thinking, okay, well, I love the product. I love sharing it with people, so why not? You know, why not try it? And at the time, I was partnered with a home party business. So I was doing party plan, that kind of model. And, you know, I wasn't the type of person that I think a lot of people expected to do something like this because I naturally was very introverted. I was shy. I don't think people really saw me as a leader. But unexpectedly, when I started this, I really began to fall in love with the personal development aspect. And as John says, like, this is just a personal development program with a compensation plan attached, and 100% true. And that's a huge part of my story is the personal development that I've been able to experience in this industry. And it was having such an amazing effects on me. So, like, when I got started, the two things I knew is that I loved a product and I loved sharing it. And I remember when my leader asked me getting started how I felt about building a team and recruiting, having an organization. And I remember thinking to myself, like, no, I wasn't going to be one of those people. Like, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to ask people that. But the two things I knew is that, like I said, I loved the product and I loved sharing it. So that's exactly what I did. But, like, as John was saying at the beginning too, people are attracted to passion. People are attracted to people who are showing up, have that confidence in what they're doing. And so, you know, like, my biggest fear in the world was public speaking, like thinking maybe back 5 years ago, would I be doing a call like this, or, you know, having a team and an organization? Like, never in a million years did I think that. But I really did discover that this was where like, a light would just shine in me when I started, you know, really taking this the network marketing industry seriously, taking it professionally. And I discovered my passion for this industry and just helping other people like me gain their confidence and find their spotlight. And as I was working my business, I was actually, at the time, I was a university student. I started this industry when I was 21. And, you know, it was at the time where I needed to start applying for jobs and, you know, getting some interviews lined up for when I graduated. But I remember applying for those jobs and something just didn't feel right. I remember working my business on the side and thinking, this is one of the only things keeping me sane. And I was struggling in my, you know, during my degree, I was struggling. It was mentally, physically exhausting on me. I remember being surrounded by sort of a, I guess, a negative atmosphere as well in terms of, you know, I remember going into like staff rooms and I remember teachers talking about like how much they honestly just hated their jobs. And I remember thinking like, oh, like I can't surround myself with this type of atmosphere for the rest of my life. Like I know how passionate I am about network marketing and it lights me up. It was like really the only thing I wanted to do in the pockets of my day when I started it. But I ended up never getting back to any of those phone calls to go become a teacher, to go apply for these jobs. I ignored all the voice memos and I just decided I was going to sub full-time for a year. And at that time, that's when the pandemic hit. So I remember schools shutting down. I remember I was no longer able to sub, and I remember being told you can apply for like a government grant to get paid since you can't work. And for me, in my head, I'm like, this is kind of a win-win because I can now work my business, I can work my butt off, and see what I can do so that once schools open back up, I can potentially make this my full-time income, my full-time gig. And it was paying for little things at the time, you know, like the gas, the groceries. Like I was a broke university student, so I didn't have the money getting started. But like I said, it was mentally and physically draining me. My mental health was suffering, and I really wanted to make this full-time for me because I knew it was something that fulfilled me. I knew it was something I was passionate about. And so I put together these like daily, weekly, and monthly checklists, and I plugged in every single day. Like these were the non-negotiables I had to do. And I remember having to go through a huge mindset shift when I came here, because going from, I guess, one industry where I felt like I was surrounded by a lot of negatives, I really had to learn to have a positive mindset on everything. And my mindset has completely shifted since getting started in this industry. And so in that time when schools were shut down, I remember, you know, this is true for me. And I remember my income growing, and I was able to pay off my final semester of tuition for school. In that year, I attended my very first conference in the company. I was named the top recruiter, the top 3 in sales, the top 5 in team sales in my previous company for many years, and I started overcoming those fears. I started speaking at events. I was asked to speak at leadership events, and I mean, I just felt like a completely different person, but in the most real and refreshing way. And I love sharing this story because I think it really shows my growth, that I came from zero. I didn't get in early. I didn't have a huge network. I was a broke university student with student loans. I didn't feel like I had a lot of customers to serve. I had all the excuses and hesitations that I feel like so many other people had, and I was naturally introverted. So that's really a huge part of my story, that if I could do this, anybody could do this. And that's how I got involved in the industry and my why for doing what I do today. Do you want me to get into kind of like how I got into Modere?
Yeah, I mean, I love that. And I think it's also really powerful for people to hear that, like, again, started part-time, you know, introverted, wasn't like, you know, some experienced, influential speaker. In fact, you had a fear of public speaking. And by the way, so did I. That was my biggest fear when I got started. And they kept trying to force me in front of the room to do even a testimonial. I'm like, nope, if you call my name, I'm walking out and I'm never coming back. I was so against it. So it's always cool to hear those stories, because I think people assume that the only ones that have success are the extroverts, and, you know, you want to speak in front of people and you want to do videos, and that's not really the truth at all. Most of us started out at suck, and we were embarrassingly terrified of doing those things. But yeah, let's get into some of the advice you would have for a brand new person getting started. And also, I think it'd be good for people to hear, why did you choose to partner with Modere? Because you could have gone anywhere. You were the top recruiter. You were crushing it in your previous business. But when you no longer aligned with that company and you were looking for a new home, what was it about Modere? And then what did you do getting started that you would recommend other people do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, in my previous company, like I said, like I was achieving all the accolades. I was earning the trips. I was able to bring my husband, my mom, my dad on these trips, and it was so rewarding. But there was still this small piece of me that never felt satisfied, because I wasn't being duplicatable to my team. I wasn't seeing my team experience the wins that I was experiencing. And I also wasn't at the time open-minded to other opportunities. Like I would get messages often being like, take a look at this, take a look at that. And I was never open to seeing what else was out there. And this was the very first company that I was with. So, you know, in my head, I'm thinking, how could I ever leave an incredible team and company that I poured 5 years into, right? I created friendships, professional relationships. I was given so many opportunities to just step into the best version of myself, and I am forever grateful for that. But I truly stayed so long because of the community, but there was something missing. And what I realized after some time is that, you know, the community is who I choose to surround myself with. And I can have that community anywhere I go because I'm in control of who I interact with. So I knew that I wanted to continue growing, and I knew that I needed to start thinking bigger, because I wanted a global team. And the company I was a part of at the time, I could only, you know, build an organization and sell within my country in Canada. So, and I had people, and I was so strong on social media that I had people reaching out to me from different countries, and I'm like, man, I wish I could help more people. So I knew I had to start thinking bigger. I had to stop playing small. So I started looking, and I grew, I evolved, and inevitably I did find Modere, the social retail model, and I think it's completely changing the game. All I wondered when I heard about it was, why haven't I looked into this sooner? With it being like a global company, I could have my dreams of building a global team and having top-class leadership. I looked at the leaders, and in my previous company, I was kind of like, I didn't have an active upline, so I felt like I was always recreating the wheel. I was always the one doing the running, leading the calls, doing everything, and I never felt like I had people to run with, where when I looked here, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at these incredible people that I've been following for years, John actually being one of them. I've been talking to John for like over 5 years. I've only been within Modere for about 1.5 years now, but this company stood out to me because of the top class leadership and the people continuously pouring down into you. I saw how they collaborated. I saw how there was no, like, it wasn't competition, like sideline, downline, upline, people work together. And the systems I saw, like, I can go on about everything that really stood out to me about this company, but it is by far, I remember looking into multiple comp plans because this was such a big decision for me to shift somewhere else. And this was by far the best I've ever seen in my life. Like the customer rewards program, just letting customers be customers, like that, in my opinion, so smart. It's a company that attracts business builders and not discount buyers. And that was how I was taught to recruit back then, was like, you know, join for the discount, join for yourself. But it's like, let customers be customers, and let's start playing bigger and building organizations of people who want to make money, who are here for the income. And my vision was to have that global team. You know, a team that was here to make an additional income for their families, find a place where they feel they belong, where they felt valued. And again, a product that's like, it's never going out of style. Like, health and wellness isn't a trend. Health and wellness is here to stay. People are always looking after their health and wellness. So that was a huge reason why I shifted into Modere. And coming here, like, I hit director in just after my first month here, and I saw like that spark was reignited. I was finding people who wanted to be here. It's like I didn't have to go convince people, and you know, we talked about attraction marketing a lot on this call already, but that was a huge thing for me, is, you know, learning that we don't have to chase people, we can attract people, because this model is just so amazing. So I guess my advice going into, like, you know, for people coming in here, or people that are, you know, currently in the business looking to really like up level themselves, like, for me, it's mindset. I think mindset is the training that everyone needs, but no one really asks for. We always ask for training on, like, how do we recruit? How do we sell more? But like, in reality, we need to develop our mindsets. And that was a huge part of my journey in how I feel like I was able to become successful. And so one thing I felt compelled to share today is, you know, we in this business get so many no's when it comes to recruiting and building our organization. But what if we started to look at every single circumstance around recruiting, or really anything that happens in your business, as neutral? So for example, say you talk to 9 people about the business and they all say no. Many would look at that and tell themselves, well, that's a crappy situation. Like, I just talked to 9 people, they all said no. But what they're choosing to tell themselves is a negative story because they felt crappy about the outcome. And since they tell themselves that story, they go on to, like, they stop recruiting, they stop taking action. And to me, that's a weak mindset, but it's kind of the norm. But someone with a growth mindset would look at that same situation and say, all right, we've talked to 9 people, which means my next recruit is just around the corner. I know that on average, 1 in every 10 people you talk to will get started. And that means I'm almost there. And since that person chose to tell themselves that story, they went on to take action and sign up their next team member. So for me, like, I teach my team, and I've had to learn myself to look at every single thing that happens in your business as neutral. And naturally, something negative might come into your mind originally, especially if that's what you're used to telling yourself. But you need to look at it and think, how can you change the story that you tell yourself? Because that story is going to affect how you feel, and ultimately it's going to determine your next action step in your business. And I have to look at life always, you know, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. You need to go through this lesson in order to grow. Because you can't control what another person's response will be. You can only control what you say and what your intentions are by asking someone to take a look. So focusing on the controllables is a huge lesson that I really had to learn and continue to teach my team to this day.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I always look at it like this. I want every person I'm connected with to at least know what I'm doing. I don't want them all to just join, buy. I only want them to buy or join if they actually want to. I don't want them to buy something they don't need or want. I don't want them to, partner up with me if they're not, really looking to earn an additional income. And it's kind of like you said, what I love about what we do is we kind of allow people to, whether they want to just use the product, promote the product, or they want to build a team and promote the product, we allow them to do what they want to do with this business. And it really is, a numbers game, of course, but you don't want to treat people like a number. So you just want to look at it like you're always planting those seeds. So every no is just, no, not yet. No, not now. No, I'm not ready. But if you keep going, you keep showing up. I mean, I've got a guy right now that's on the call. What's up, Zach? I don't know if he's on, but he said he was going to be on. The point is, we've been friends for, on and off. I've been associated with him or connected to him for over 15 years. 15 years. So, you don't know when someone might need an opportunity or when they might need this product. But if you keep doing your job on the front end, building the relationships, putting out your content, connecting with people on the back end, some will, some won't, some will, some won't, some wait, so what, next? There's always someone out there looking for what we have to offer. And I look at Teisha as one of those people that's been very consistent, and you can tell she has that growth mindset. You can tell she's done a lot of the personal development, which is why even though she had the fear of public speaking and the introvert, all the things, she's now a top person, a top leader, a top social marketer. And this is what I love about this business. Like I said in the very beginning, it's personal development with a comp plan attached. So the more you work on yourself, the more you will achieve your goals and dreams with this opportunity. Teisha, any final tips for people that are listening, that are tuning in, that are really wanting to have that level of success? Anything else you would suggest?
Yeah, just quickly, I guess, when it comes to recruiting, belief is everything here. And I know sometimes being a new social marketer or someone new to even recruiting and building an organization, we struggle with it a little bit. And one piece of advice I got was that if you don't have the belief yet, or if you don't have the confidence yet, borrow somebody else's. Borrow your uplines. Borrow a sidelines. You don't have to be 100% when you start, because you need to work up to building that confidence, right? But you have to remember that this opportunity that we have with Modere, it is pure freaking gold. There is so much here that we can offer people. And even though this opportunity might be a side hustle, even a full-time income for some people, but this opportunity may be a lifeline to somebody else. So I want you to think about why you got started with Modere. I told you guys my reasons, but what are your reasons for getting started with Modere? And are you sharing those? Because you not sharing why you got started with this company, that could be depriving someone who's in a situation who could really use this opportunity and really want to jump in. And just remember that, like I said, if you struggle with the recruiting conversations right now, borrow somebody else. We teach like the three-way chats, the three-way calls, and you could borrow somebody else's belief. Not every single person is going to relate to maybe your story or who you are, but who is someone that they will relate to? Who is someone that can, talk about the business and has been doing this for years and years of experience? That's how you're going to grow and learn, is by borrowing that belief or borrowing that confidence from someone else until you have it yourself. And I'm just going to be completely real here. We talked a little bit about public speaking and the fear behind it. I still am so fearful of public speaking, but I just learned to do it in fear over and over and over again until it gets easier. But even today, I was like, I'm terrified to talk on this call, but I'm also pumped for it because I know that there's people out there who maybe I'm just one step ahead of them and they could learn from me. So just remember that you are helping people. You have a unique story, whether you think, they have a way better story or not. You are going to help somebody. So just share your story, share what you love, because someone out there is listening, whether you believe it or not. And you just never know what people need this. Yeah.
I love that so much, because there's always someone that's going to relate to your story. And that's the thing that people sometimes forget. It's like, I can't do what Kelly does, or I'm not as dynamic as Teisha, or I can't, do what John and Nadia. It's like, you don't need to be like John and Nadia. You don't need to be like Teisha. You need to be your own authentic version. So when you reach out to people, when you're starting to post on social media, don't try to fake it, right? Don't try to put on a front like you're more successful than you are, or, telling a story that isn't really you. Like the sooner you get that, the sooner you get comfortable with just sharing your truth, your values, your story, the sooner you will start to get attention on social media. And listen, it's not just about attention. Obviously, we need to convert these people that are, watching a video, or they're, dropping a like, dropping a comment. We need to convert some of them into actual customers, but it does start with attention. And if you can get attention and you can offer value to people, and they see you as an inspiration, they see you as someone that is in some way, shape, or form impacting their life in a positive way, the money will follow. The results will follow. The customers, the recruits, all the things that will happen for you. And I just think we're at a very unique time where right now the economy sucks. People are, a little shook up with what's going on, politically and some of the things that are happening in the world. But if you are that positive light during a dark time and they see you showing up consistently, you will start to convert some of those followers into customers, into teammates. And you just never know. Like, what's beautiful about this is you meet people from all over the world, and you just never know when someone might actually partner up with you, and you might work with that person for the next 10 years, for the rest of your life even. And this is what's so amazing about this business is you really are partnering up with other people. They're not just in your downline. They don't work for you. We all work together to grow this, this global brand, this amazing company. We all work together. And I love that part. And, Teisha, just so you guys know, she's not even on our team, but she's just someone I'm friends with. And I was like, hey, can you speak on our call? Can you come share your story? And I think it's really inspiring. And this is what I love about this company is everybody works together, and there's so much camaraderie and collaboration. And it's just a beautiful thing. So, Teisha, thank you for being on, and congrats on all your success.
Thanks for having me, and I appreciate your mentorship, John.
Absolutely.